All right, guys, welcome into a post-game show or a post-game dump or whatever you want to call it. This is what it's going to be tonight, and I am just horrified about what we're about to talk about. Guys, take the stat sheets, throw them away because we don't need them tonight. Mitch, Ryan, I'm back with you guys. Listen, I didn't expect to have an exciting post-game show, even if they won by 70. I didn't expect to have it. But the one thing I did expect this team to have was a set of balls and heart, and neither one of them came in tonight. And then when you're getting your doors blown off by, again, one of the worst teams in the NFL, because no longer can we say that they're the worst. I think the Eagles are now the worst team in the NFL, and I'm not overreacting just because this team is that bad. I'm telling you the truth. This defense can't stop a peewee team. They are bad. You get the ball to anybody, you will make any running back, any quarterback, any wide receiver look good. And the Eagles did it again today. Welcome in, guys. We are going not to be your analyst tonight. We are going to be your psychiatrist tonight, because that's what it is. It will be the cheapest psychiatry you had, trust me. But you guys are going to help us, and we're going to help you. But guys, welcome in Mitch Kofsky. Welcome in Ryan Reese. Guys, I would say what's going on, but I think it is. Mitch, start it off for me, bud.
I got nothing to say right now.
Yeah.
I was gonna walk off, but for me, honestly, there's no heart, no guts, no glory. There's literally nothing I can say. But AJ Brown getting hurt the first time on a slant, I'm like, just take everyone out. We're done. That's it.
Ryan?
That's all I got.
This team angers me in a way that I didn't think was possible. You know, I'm usually one to stay positive, but after that first half, that might have been one of the worst first halves, or halves in general, I should say, that I have seen in quite some time. It's been long enough to where I can't really recall specifics. So this is bad. And you know, somebody said earlier, fire everybody. They're not going to do that, and they shouldn't do that. I mean, it's silly. The man is still a year removed from making, the Super Bowl. But what needs to happen is the rest of the staff needs to come together. And you know, he took a couple swings, and they both whiffed big time. Brian Johnson can't call a play to save his life. Sean Desai obviously wasn't a very good defensive coordinator. Matt Patricia, is too busy, chewing on his pencils. They need to get they need to get it right for next year, because this team has all of the talent in the world. It has a great mixture of veterans, great mixture of youth, but that they clearly aren't performing well. And I think it's a combination of the players, but I think it's a lot to do with the coaches and motivating and putting them into the right positions, calling the right plays, scheming the right way. The players can only do so much physically, but if they're out of position, they're not going to be able to make any plays. So I think a lot of this has to do with the staff, and we need a new O coordinator, we need a new D coordinator, and we need a bunch of new position coaches, honestly. And Sirianni and Howie have to take a look at themselves and this team really hard this offseason and figure out what they need to do to improve. And right now it's hard to see what that specifically is, because this team is so lost. I've never seen the team so lost before in all my years.
I've never seen such an epic collapse from any of our sports teams. I mean, listen, we talked about how this Phillies team should have won and went to the World Series against the Diamondbacks, but we got outplayed. But when you get outplayed or out coached or whatever, there's one thing. But I don't know. Maybe I'm on the sidelines. I'm not watching it. I'm not in there. Like, I mean, I don't really usually say, "Oh, somebody's got to flip a bench or flip a table or flip," But I would have liked to seen that. I really would have liked to see. I would have liked to see that they were as hurt as you, me, and everybody else that's chiming in here, which we're gonna get to a lot of these in a moment, because we put our blood, sweat, and tears in this. Maybe we're not on the field, but we, put our money, our time, our effort into it. And I know he's watching right now, and I gotta give credit where credit is
He already
due.
said it. He's already in the chat.
Yeah,
No.
I'm sure he is. We'll get to it in a second. But Matty B, you were right, man. Yeah, a lot of us had green glasses on. I mean, listen, a 10-1 start. How do you not have the green glasses on? But I mean, it still doesn't explain to me how you can have a 10-1 start and those games come up against the Bills, the Chiefs, who, listen, they were struggling at times as well. A Bucks team that's a little bit improved now. The Dolphins. It's just two other, beating Dallas at least once. Like it is it is heartbreaking and just ridiculous that this team has zero heart and zero passion about it. And it's sad to see guys like most likely Jason Kelsey. I wouldn't want to come back if I'm Jason Kelsey. I wouldn't. It probably hurts to lace up every day. Why would you want to now? And this team's going to have to go through some growing pains to get back to even close where they were last year. They got to reevaluate the entire team. I mean, this team is going to be put under a microscope. Let's hit some of these messages here before they start to pile up, because they will pile up, and they are already.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's start with this one. Steven wants to know, will there be a statement firing before the playoffs? That'd be interesting. I would like to see it, but as owner of a team and as a GM of a team or anything, but listen, again, I go back to that chip in the chair statements. You have a chance to do something, but I kind of jokingly tweeted earlier, can you trade away your playoff spot to another team? Like maybe for a little draft compensation or something. Might be something they should start thinking about doing, adding that in. But
Can we trade it for the water boy? We need tackling.
yeah, that's one of the many things that need to happen. Mad Mike saying the Eagles need to clean house, whether it's Howie and staff or just the whole coaching staff. I'm sure you and others are gonna feel like that. It's bad, real bad, but coat tight was worse.
So much
Oh,
worse.
yeah, Omar was pointing out there. Let's see. Nick Seria has been walking around like Bill Belichick.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, look at that team. I kind of picked the Pats to win today. I thought Belichick would go out on top against the Jets,
Right.
and that did not happen.
Nope.
Joe Scorza is saying dead team walking Cotidian. William is saying, can we draft coordinators? And kind of going. Let me talk to you guys about that. Like, because you got, we're gonna get to more in a moment, but we talked about the cleaning house and getting rid of different people, this, that, and the other. Like, does anybody I mean, I understand Jalen Hurts is still a good young quarterback, but would any real deal guy who has a real good chance want to be a name in the NFL want to come here? Like, knowing how things have played out, knowing say for instance, I doubt Howie's going anywhere, even though a lot of people are going to be calling for his head. I doubt Nick Sirianni's going to go anywhere, but I mean, you fire two coordinators after. I mean, hell, one of them didn't even make the full year technically. Is anybody, and Ryan, I'll start with you. Is anybody going to want to take on this job? Is this becoming one from a super desirable destination to undesirable?
Yeah, I still think there is value in both coordinator spots. I mean, listen, offensively, you get to work with AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts. You have a set and deep offensive line. You have a top five tight end, arguably, in Dallas Goedert, and you have a young emerging wide receiver in Smith. So yeah, there's definitely fun weapons to be had, and again, it is, I think, at least for me, I would hope the competitive nature of someone would want to come in and be like, hey, listen, I can take these guys right back to where they were, scoring 30, 35 points a game. I want to bring that. I want to show that it's because of me. So I think it's still desirable, and same with the defense. I mean, you had that front, defensive line that's always going to be, great. And yeah, it's a little depleted. It's a little older in some spots, and you don't really have any linebackers or two great safeties. So maybe not as desirable as far as the ability, but again, it's Philadelphia. We love good defenses. Like, I don't know. The way I think about it, I'd want to come and fix it and be the reason why it's working. And I still think they're desirable. They're going to be a playoff team still. Even what you would assume if they get competent coordinators in here, they have the skill set and the players to still make a playoff run.
Mitch, I'll kind of go with you. I don't like putting the cart before the horse because there's still a playoff game, and then we'll get to the postseason, or we'll get to off-season maneuvers and all that. But do you think at this point it's just a lot of these veterans that maybe stuck around, Fletcher, BG, Jason Kelsey? Do you think it's not just they're not going to want to be here, but it's just time to start moving on and placing some of this money in other areas?
It is definitely time to start to move pieces. It's definitely time to put money in positions in need. Like James Bradbury was god awful tonight. He was god awful. I mean, please put Ricks. Oh wait, Ricks got injured. Brown. Oh, he got injured too. So who do you put there?
So anybody named Brown should be taken off the field. Like,
right.
Well, if your name is Brown, get off the field because you're gonna get hurt.
Done.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Matty B saying spoken like a true homer. I don't know what he's talking about there.
I think he was talking about my little rant in the beginning, which again I was blasting the team a little bit, but I never understood the home. Like, we're obviously a Philadelphia sports show here. Like, obviously we pay attention to Philadelphia, and this is our team, and we love our team, but the fact that we're not sitting here and be like, hey, everything's fine. We're going to be great. Hey, we made the playoffs, guys. Come on, let's go. Woo! Like, we're not saying that. We're obviously very critical of this team.
I personally don't want them to have it. I really wish that they could have been stripped of their play. This is not me overreacting. This is being truthful.
No, you're
strip them of that playoff position.
Our good buddy Shane Half said something pretty similar, where he was kind of saying, he kind of hopes they don't make a little bit of a run and almost fool themselves into thinking they have a good team and there's not much wrong. There's a lot wrong with this team. They have a lot to fix, and you hope and pray that old mindset of the Eagles were like, hell, hey, we won a playoff game. We're good. We're fine. No, you're not fine. Even if you somehow beat the lowly Tampa Bay Bucks, who only beat the Carolina Panthers 9-0, which was one of the worst games on the docket today. Still, even if you get by Tampa Bay, you're going to get trounced in the next round by somebody, and it's not going to be pretty, but you need to figure a lot of things out. Your coordinators, your philosophy, what's happening with your veterans. Why do you not have any linebackers? Why do you not have any safeties? Like, you need to fix a lot of things, and you need to get James Bradbury off of the field now.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, guys, sometimes you just need to get away from it all. I go to Philly sports trips. Maybe you're not going to check out the Eagles. I'm not even going to check out the Eagles. I might go check out my Flyers. They're doing really good right now. I might go February 17th to the Outdoor Stadium Series up at MetLife Stadium. Might be the only fun thing happening in MetLife Stadium for any Philly fan in the coming future, especially after tonight. I'm going to go to phillysportstrips.com. I'm going to sign up for that trip. Maybe I'm going to really get away and head down south. Not to go to Tampa Bay. I'm not going to Tampa Bay. I'm going to Clearwater to check out the Phillies. That's what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll even go even further west to go all the way to LA to watch the Sixers on an LA trip. Whatever. But I'm going to need to get away, and Philly Sports Trips is the website I'm going to use to get to these destinations. So check it out, phillysportstrips.com. Still got the segues down. I still got my segues.
Hey,
smooth as hell.
That was great, and I'm excited for Philly's post games.
Yeah, right. Again, let's hit some of these. Omar, the last collapse was Reed's final season. Yeah, I mean that. I don't know if that was. I don't know. I honestly, maybe we can talk about that. And I think this is the worst collapse in 25 to 30, maybe even more
in
years.
my lifetime.
Yeah.
Well,
like, I'm 41, so it's kind of close to that. Yeah.
I'm 29.
But especially in the last 25 years, since the year 2000, since like the Eagles really were a good team for the most part throughout that time frame. This has to be the worst collapse. Like I said, coming in, we were at one point 10-1. We beat the likes of the Chiefs, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Cowboys at the time, all those teams, and many other ones. Now, granted, they were all pretty wins, but they were still wins. To sit here and tell me, like I said, Matty B, I give you a lot of credit. You saw it a lot before other people, and some other people in here as well. I believe Mike was saying it too. But I don't think anybody saw this kind of downfall, because like this is atrocious.
It's confusing too. It's confusing. It's because again, it's we've seen good teams be and generally in Philadelphia, we know when our team is going to suck, and we know when our team is going to be pretty good, and generally that kind of holds true for the most part. But this one we were top of the NFL. We could again we had one little stumble at the Meadowlands, which I unfortunately decided to go to. Thanks to Philly Sports Trips, by the way.
Hey!
And then the wheels fell off the wagon. Honestly, I mean, and I don't understand. I can't pinpoint it to one thing. There's not like hey, this person got hurt. There's a lot of things that went wrong, and it's kind of confusing as to what the true nature of what happened. It really is.
William said we've seen it. Ha ha ha. We watched the Sixers. Yeah, I mean, outside of that first year when they got knocked out in the second round, I mean, it's almost like we expected at this point. I mean, if they move on, that'll be good. I mean, it would be like if they would have to go up like 3-0 in the finals or something, or the conference finals. I think this is a bigger collapse. They were 10-1. Exotic T is saying Bucks dropping y'all. Maybe they are. I don't know who his team is. I don't know if he's a Bucks fan. Maybe he's a Cowboys fan. I don't know. But I hope so. Like you're not going to come out anything to me today during this post game and get me to get like, oh no, listen, you stupid Cowboys fan, or you Bucks fan. No, I hope so. Like Ryan said, when he alluded to what Shane was talking about, they are a bad team, and I don't need any of a smoke screen for them to feel like maybe we got a little bit more here than we thought. Maybe it was just a bad 6-week run, and we got and we could come back from it. Like no, like this team is bad, and look they have struggled over the last 6 weeks. They got blown out by the Niners. They got beat up by Dallas, and then they struggled against the Seahawks, the Giants both times, even though they won one of those games, and what was the other two? Oh, the Cardinals. So what do you think is going to happen in the playoffs? Now, here's the other thing is they're going to go see a team who could only score 9 points against Carolina Panthers today, and their playoff, and they had a win-in playoff moment. This was a playoff game for them. And guess what? Tampa Bay Bucks are going to look like a Super Bowl ready team when we get there. That's what's going to happen. I hope so, because at this point, I mean, again, if they win against the Bucks, I don't know, but at one point they're going to get their doors blown off, and
they already have.
Well,
they already have
in the playoffs, because there is still some people out here who think that they'll get it right. Don't worry, they'll get it right. They're going to not let us down. I give people credit who can have that kind of. I love this team. Like I said, I've flown with this team for 41 years, and I'm going to be an Eagles fan forever. And maybe that's what makes our jobs a little harder than the big wigs out there. Most of not a lot of those guys grew up Eagles fans, didn't sit there through the blood, sweat, and tears. Some of them did. Don't get me wrong, but we have to be able to separate our emotions. As Matty B says, take off our green colored glasses and not just be a bunch of homers. But I'm just saying, like, this team having no effort kills me. Let's hit a couple more of these. Our emotional well-being, I guess he was kind of going along with that. The 49ers lose D'Amico Ryans and bring in veteran defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes. Howie needs to get back in the shed and bring in a coach like Gruden, Harbaugh, Belichick, someone who knows who football inside and out, not some scrum or only says, yes, Howie, I will kiss your ass. Well, listen, if that's what they're looking for, do you think Howie's going to go looking for it, Ant? I mean, Howie's not going to go. If he wants somebody's going to, quote unquote, kiss his ass, Howie ain't going to be the guy to go find it. Again, like, kind of the resurgence came when like Jeff Lloyd and Howie almost but admitted back in that 2020 end of 2020 season that they were a little too hands-on in some situations. They don't have to give a guy, he can still GM if that's what he wants to do. Just don't if that's what's happening, don't influence play calling, don't influence the schematics of this game. Just let people who know this game do what they do best. Because, like people talk about Doug Peterson. I wonder if he could stick around and he wasn't hogtied, could he do better? I don't know. We'll never know. But Omar saying this team is lucky. I'm not Lurie because I would have went into that locker room in half and put some coaching jobs on notice. Yeah, certain things you can and can't do. Eagles fired Doug 2 years after winning the Super Bowl. So firing Sirianni is easy. Was it 2 years? No, it was more than 2 years. It was 4 years. 2017, he was fired after the 2020 series. So 3 years.
Yeah, I think it was
years.
3. He was fired after that
firing
losing season.
One season after the Super Bowl seems a little ludicrous.
It's not even just that. Like, they need to put this under a microscope. They need to. They hire guys, independent contractors to come in and look at these people. Like, they kind of like when they they don't know who these people are. They bring them in to see, like, is there any disconnect in the locker room? Is there any disconnect in the coaching staff, in the philosophy, whatever it is? Like, where is the problem? And they might need to do that. They might need to really, like I said, put this team under a microscope. And Adam says, has Sirianni lost the team? I think so. Mitch, what do you say? Like, has Sirianni lost this team, or is this team just lost under Sirianni?
This team is lost. This team is actually lost. I mean, it is clear as day. Clear as day. Nick Sirianni, what is going on here? Like I said this I think I said this in a pregame show or Fly Like an Eagle. I want to be a fly on that wall and just hear what's going on. Like, where are the cracks? Where's everything? Because after they lost the 49ers game, after Big Don was fired, just like something happened. I don't know. And Bradbury sucked throughout the whole year. Just don't even.
Yeah, well, that hasn't changed. I mean, I saw a couple Niners fans like throughout the last few weeks. We broke this team. We broke them. I mean, kind of like what you just said. I mean, I can't say. I mean, I just saw Rye roll your eyes, but whatever it was, it all happened at that time. This team was, we made the excuses during the Niners and Dallas run. They had short weeks. These guys had more time to prepare, more time to rest. They're, they're good teams. It's a gauntlet and all that fun stuff. But where does it come in here now? You go from Seahawks, who aren't that great of a team, to Giants, to Cardinals, back to the Giants again, and they make these teams look good. Like, if you just were born in the last few weeks and you're watching the Eagles play these teams, tell me you're not like, oh, the Cardinals are a good team, right? Right? The Giants are a good team. They look like a good team. They just put 24 points up on you in the first half. I mean, it's sickening. Or 21, whatever it was. I don't even know. I wrote it down.
Can we get David?
I threw my notes over here. I mean, I might say something out of school. I literally threw my notes. It wasn't an act, guys. I literally threw my notes.
I just have one question. Can we get David Archerry, because that defense is better than ours?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it was criminal. You're absolutely right. I would call David Archerry. Go to cherryinjurylaw.com. I mean, get hurt at work, get hurt in motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, and something criminal like we saw at the Meadowlands. And we've been living for 6 weeks as Eagles fans. It is criminal. So call them at 610-565-0300. Again, 610-565-0300. Cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David Archerry fight for your rights. And thank you, Mitch, for the segue.
Nicely done, fellas.
Let's hit a couple more of these. Steve's saying AJ Brown and Smith out. QB was dislocated throwing finger. Gainwell 5 touches and a ton of yards. Maybe we'll run it. Nah, why do something that works? I mean, that's kind of been like that what we just saw Mitch do, smack his face, has been pretty much like, what was that? Not Airplane, Naked Gun, where everybody just started like simultaneously slapping. Like, that's kind of the thing that's going on here.
You know what it got me thinking though? You know what it got me thinking? Derek Barnett is in the playoffs and he's playing well now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let that sink in.
listen. If
that I
Derek,
take with a grain of salt.
if losing Derek Barnett,
No,
had
I'm not
anything to
saying
do
it's
with-
losing, but I'm just saying it's funny. Because the Texans are in the playoffs the first time in like what, 4 years?
And I don't even want to say what I'm thinking in the back of my head about, how bad this, like, what could make this season even worse. But a certain team going to a certain Super Bowl
Oh
would
my God.
would only way this season could get any worse for me at this point.
You'd have to sell tickets to the Ben Franklin Bridge.
Yeah, pretty much.
People be
By
lined
going
up.
on series tickets?
Yeah, we'll get to them. Too early for that promo, but thank you for the play.
Yeah,
Omar saying no. Think this team is reacting towards both offensive and defensive schemes. So I guess he doesn't feel like they're a loss. They're just the schemes. I would think so. That take this year out. 2 of the coordinators got a fast track to head coaching positions and the talent we have. We've been talking about that, how the loss of Shane Steichen definitely. Look at Shane Steichen worked with Herbert. Herbert hasn't been the same since. Shane Steichen worked with Jalen Hurts. Really brought Jalen Hurts. Once he took over play calling in 2021, really found something in Jalen Hurts. Of course, in 2022 we saw. Then he goes out and he has a good run with Gardner Minshew of all people at the helm for the most part, and their rookie quarterback was looking like he could have been rookie of the year. We're talking about CJ Stroud right now, but it could have been, it could have been Richardson too. It could have been a whole different, conversation if health wasn't an issue. So I'll throw it to you, Ryan. Do we take a lot of precedent here with losing both coordinators, especially Steichen with the offense, that caused this dramatic drop? And maybe that's why this team is, maybe they won't admit it, but they just don't believe in, Brian Johnson or Desai.
Yeah, listen. These coordinators were here for what, two years, and they built up the trust, and they were, that last season that they were both here, the offense was firing on all cylinders, scoring it well. Hurts looked absolutely amazing. AJ Brown again, amazing. And yeah, the defense was historic. Honestly, it was 70 sacks, and they were flying all over the place. And listen, I get there are other factors, smaller factors that go into it, but anytime you lose 2 coordinators, it's going to completely change your team, as we have seen. It doesn't matter who you brought in, unless you're keeping the same philosophy. You're basically having coordinators that are just puppets that run the old system through the head coach. That obviously wasn't the case. So, again, it's tough to replace and find 2 replacements for 2, Super Bowl, coordinators. So that obviously was what killed us in the end. We couldn't replace them. We struck out on the the replacements, and again, I think a couple of the moves by Howie. A lot of people are kind of crapping on Howie, but listen, he took some chances. You can't have 22 all pros. You gotta save a little money where you can. And he went linebacker, he went safety, and fortunately some injuries and some other things kind of didn't work out for us. So I'm just again, I'm all about, let's try it again. Let's see if we can bring in the right coordinators for this next year, and hopefully we can regain some of what we had last year.
Let's look a couple more here. We got Mike back here. Bring back Frank Reich on offense and try bring in Rex Ryan. No Rex. Mike, we've talked about this.
He hasn't been in the NFL in what, 8 years?
And I know he even I saw a
10.
video floating around on Twitter where he said, "Oh, they could have called me" or something like that when he was. No, Rex. No, the whole Buddy Ryan, Rex Ryan thing, guys. Let's just throw this out there. Like, they were good defensive years, but they didn't win anything. So like, we have revisionist history with the Ryans. Okay, so I don't think Rex Ryan. What did Rex Ryan do that made us feel special? I don't know. He made those. We got caught with those videos of him and his wife's feet. Whatever. Like, that's Frank Reich. Again, like, I like Frank. I thought Frank was a good reason. We all kind of were wondering, was Was Frank the mastermind behind the 2017 year
Yeah.
versus Doug? But Frank went to the Colts and didn't have a bad season. I don't blame his time at the Colts because their owner's he's a little wacky.
Yeah, he's a whack job.
It's almost Jerry Jones-esque with him. Then he went to Carolina, got a new quarterback, and they struggled, and they fired him in less than 2 years. So did he lose his locker room, or what was going on? So I don't know about Frank Reich. So let's all laugh at the Rex Ryan defensive coordinator. Just remember, I wanted to go to Denver this year. Go to Denver this year. Their defensive coordinator. I mean, maybe they have one that they have. I mean, the one that we had in house is killing it in Baltimore now.
Yeah.
Granted, Baltimore has a much better personnel and defense than we do. So, I mean, again, is it the personnel as a defense coordinator? I mean, is it did Sean Desai / Matt Patricia get a bad hand dealt to them? So that's where the Howie Roseman situation comes in, and I agree with you, Ryan. You can't have all-star guys at every position, but at the same time, you need to learn that balance. And the years of not nurturing and bringing in young secondary guys and linebackers is catching up to us.
Mhm.
So now, like, if you're gonna make a rush to come back next year, you're gonna have to not just draft well, you're gonna have to go out there and move some money around. And that means most likely you're not going to sign guys back like Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham for $10-15 million a piece.
No.
I mean, that's $25-30 million just locked up right there. I mean, Jason Kelsey is one of the highest paid centers, and I would love to. I'm biggest Jason Kelsey fan sitting right here talking to you. But sometimes you got to pull. You got to cut the cord.
They won't for him. If he wants to come he'll be on a 1-year contract for as long as he wants to keep coming back for however much money he wants, and Howie's just going to give it to him. There's no changing that. That in my mind, it's a 100% guarantee. I'll put my house on it. He'll last for however much money he wants. Howie's going to give it to him.
Crabby old man saying, I love the name, by the way. Right. I lived through bums like Randall Cunningham, who later admitted they didn't study the playbook. So wins and losses don't bother me so much as long as they give their all. Well, then you really should be bothered right now, crabby old man, because there really wasn't much heart or give or anything that you want, whatever cliche word or term you want to use, cojones, mabbles, whatever you want to say. There wasn't much in it, and they don't have it. And I rarely will ever sit here and call out my team on not having heart, but this team does. They look like the Walking Dead. You know what I mean? Like just zombified, slinking through the season. Like even though they have a playoff set, I feel like they all have their bags packed for vacation. Like, we have to play one extra game because we played well earlier on the season. Like, so it's nauseating. It really is nauseating. Omar saying, I agree this team hasn't shown any heart, but I think there's more. It's more like the players know their schemes are shit and they're just displaying how they feel. It's one thing to display how you feel, but these guys are they're competitors, man. I mean, you might not agree with the scheme, and trust me, I can see her on my notepad across the room over here. I wrote down a bunch of things. I mean, again, getting beat on the slants, getting beat downfield, leaving guys in pockets wide open, allow guys like Tyrod Taylor to drop a dime to score early touchdowns. Not being able to take Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley had like one of the longest touchdown runs there, or passes, I should say. I mean, he looked like a bona fide wide receiver. Looked like a guy trying to play his heart out and win a contract, But it's, that I can't 100% agree to that. I don't doubt that with this team, no matter how bad they look now. I don't know if I have that out of context. We were through this with coordinators under Doug, and then Steichen and Gannon took the next spots. Well, Doug had his guys that were just bad, and that was, I think, ultimately had Doug out the door, was that he was unwilling to bend. Like, either I'm gonna have my guys or I'm out. Like, he thought maybe he might have valued his situation a little bit more than maybe Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman did, but that's ultimately, I think, what would cost him his job. Bringing a proven OC in DC, the talent on offense is there. There's no salary cap for assistant coaches. Absolutely. If the Eagles lose next week, I would fire Nick and bring in Eric Bieniemy. I mean, I like Eric Bieniemy as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
My question is, why has Eric Bieniemy not got a job in all these years? I mean, was it because he's working under Andy Reid? He's Andy Reid's puppet. Is he not a likable character? I don't know. Like,
there's a lot of stuff that came out about him saying he coaches, a little too hard for the players' likings, and it rubs some of the players off the wrong way. But I mean, I part of me thinks that's just one of those things that you throw out there to give an excuse as to why this man hasn't gotten an opportunity.
Yeah, here, something Maddie brings up, and it's pretty amazing, Mitch. I'm going to toss this to you. The back-to-back NFC East champ streak continues. The Eagles were NFC champ streaks from 2000 to 2004, and since then, we have not had a back-to-back NFC East champion. It's like the longest streak in the NFL right now. Is that amazing? Is that amazing for how, especially for the fact that one of those teams, for the most part, Washington has been bad for the most part. I think they maybe won the East once in that whole dynamic. New York had that little early to 2010 range where they won a couple Super Bowls close together. But other than that, it's been pretty much Eagles and Dallas. And that the fact that this continues to happen, is that amazing to you?
It actually is. It's like every single year, they predict one team and it's the complete opposite. This other team takes it. I mean, it's just like what I love about football in our division. It's very competitive. You can't see that. You don't see that in other divisions. You really don't. So, I mean, look at the Patriots, for example, in the AFC West. They were taking that division for a decade or two. And then now they're like, it's Buffalo Miami's turn. So it's actually kind of interesting for me being an Eagles fan, but I hate it right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. You would like to see the Eagles be back-to-back. That would be
right.
Nice. Adam says, you think Kelsey, Graham, and Cox come back? I mean, if you're saying all three, I don't think so. I mean,
No.
I could maybe side with Ryan a little bit, saying Kelsey maybe, but I think Cox is definitely going to be gone. I mean,
I think at least one of them retires, and if that one person is Kelsey, I think only one of Graham and Cox come back.
And I think that's all you can really put money into at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw the tiredness. I mean, Fletcher Cox isn't playing today for the most part because he played the most snaps on defense. The Eagles have the most snaps on defense in the NFL this year. And you have this guy who's had the most snaps on that defense. So, I mean, give him credit. I give Fletcher Cox credit. Like, I thought he was cooked maybe a year ago or two. Like, not cooked, but wasn't going to be very helpful in the latter end of the season. But, yeah, but he's been, been really good despite that fact. At this season's crossroad against Seattle, the players went rogue, didn't listen. What does that say about the strength of the coaches and faith of players having them? Yeah, we talked about this, Steve, in the pre-game. I talked about this on Wednesday with Freddie to probably at length, maybe too much, probably annoyed some people. But everybody was very excited about the AJ Brown comments, which I get. And of course, the guy who makes the comments went down early in the game, and God hopefully didn't tear something. But I don't know. He may not play this until next season at this point. And at this point, if there's any chance of any injury, I just let it go. Like I honestly don't want to hurt anybody who is going to cause them to need a season-ending surgery at the end of the season. But yeah, I said that. I mean, when I heard the term "quote unquote" rogue, when we went rogue, yeah, that tells me a lot that they don't believe in. And even another thing that AJ Brown said, he said, Nick may want to change things about him, but loyalty isn't one of them. So it's kind of like an underhanded compliment, like, oh, he's very loyal, but there may be some things he wants to change about him. Right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think any player, especially a skill position player like that, especially a wide receiver, is going to 100% love his coach. And there's certainly things about him that I'm sure he would love to change. And, I'm sure there's things that, especially AJ, given his relationship with Hurts, knows about Hurts and wants, the coaches to kind of scheme, maybe for a particular skill set that Hurts maybe isn't utilizing within the offensive game plan. So I'm sure he has his opinions on how things should go. I'm sure he wants the ball 1,000 times more. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily. I didn't see anything that in what he said that was necessarily detrimental to the team as a whole and kind of the unity in that locker room from that perspective.
Absolutely. And guys, real quick, I'll remind you that this show is brought to you by sherrystickets.com. Get your tickets, not just for sports, because maybe I don't go to an Eagles game. I don't want to go to another Eagles game. It's painful and torture. But there's plenty of tickets for all sports throughout the area. And even if you're not in Philly, you can use sherrystickets.com. Concerts, theaters, you name it, they got it. sherrystickets.com. Great prices. You are not going to get bamboozled. We've all used those other websites, those other apps. And at the end, you go to checkout, they throw a $150 fee on top of your tickets. That won't happen at sherrystickets.com. The price you see on the screen will be the price you pay. Use that promo code EOP10. That's right, EOP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. Let's see. I think I saw Matty B getting going off for a second, but I don't know why. I've given him nothing but kudos. I know when I'm wrong. I will admit when I'm wrong. Maybe not right away if you ask my wife, but sooner or later I will come around. Bring back Frank for OC. I mean, I don't think retreads at this point are going to help us any, unless Shane Steichen wants to come back as OC for the Eagles at this point. Let's see. Matty B saying critical. He must have responded to something earlier. Nick and Howie should be back. Where is the critical? Bradbury, who resigned, who Howie resigned.
Sure.
Linebackers, who Howie neglected.
Sure.
Safety, who Howie neglected.
Sure.
Preaching the choir right now, bud. Nothing will be fixed until the schemes are addressed, as in removed and better ones implemented. I mean, that is such a key thing. Like, I mean, and I saw a little bit of it, not as bad, maybe because this team, at one point was looking really good, but especially during these bad moments, it's like play calling 101 stuff was really bad. Just, simple stuff that you knew was coming. They still couldn't stop it. Defensive line couldn't stop the rush anymore. Just like we talked about, we made the joke, did the Niners break the Eagles? But right before that, they were able to stop the running game for the most part. I mean, it was actually getting a little weak at that point before then, but they weren't that bad, but they were able to stop some good running backs, and now they can't. And I mean, it's almost a guarantee there's going to get points. Like, there's not like, oh, we're going to a 3 and outs. Like, couldn't buy a 3 and out the Eagles right now. They couldn't. Like, against a bad Giants team, they had more scoring plays than they had more scoring drives than they had not scoring drives. And if it wasn't for one missed field goal, they would have had another one. That's how bad it was. Like that. And again, the Cardinals look like you knew the Cardinals had the ball in their hand, they were going to score on us. You knew if Seattle had the ball in their hand, they were going to get downfield. Like there was nothing. There was nothing given that this team, makes you feel good about. We already said that one. Williams said, hopefully this ice in as bad as their turf. Laugh out loud. I guess this must have been during my promo for Philly Sports Trips. I'm going to the Flyers at MetLife Stadium. That'll be the most fun at MetLife Stadium because, like Mitch said earlier, two biggest letdowns this season were the first time they lost the game this year at MetLife to the Jets, and then, of course, this game this year at MetLife to the Giants.
You know what I call it? You know what I call it? I call it meth life. It's not MetLife, it's meth life.
You're gonna need meth to get through any further games there.
What?
Yeah. For now,
I was like, wait, what? Yeah.
Yeah. For now, as long as the Cowboys don't win anything, I'm good. Laugh out loud. Yeah. Well, that they have a much higher chance of making. I mean, I think they're not going to, but that's just me that's my homer right there talking. But they do buckle under pressure, so we'll find out. But let's just get past what we're talking about today. This is embarrassing loss. Looks like the team just quit. I'm going to blow through some of these real quick. I won't blame Howie for Bradbury. He was an all-pro last year who didn't show regression until this year. Yeah, was he an all-pro or was he just disguised with all the other stuff, with that D-line getting 70-plus sacks and playing at the level they were playing? I'll jump through to you, Mitch.
I don't even know what to say anymore. It's just like with the coaching that we had, it of course took over, and Nick Sirianni wasn't like in control of anything. So Steichen, whatever you want to say.
Steve says even with the end of Chip, we had Pat Shermer. Can I just say one thing I did learn that came out positive tonight, if you want to call it a positive? Thank God we didn't get Mariota, and thank God there will be no quarterback controversy. He sucks. Just throw it out there. He's bad. All right, and I understand his team's not that good and all that stuff, and he was playing with the second and third string. He's bad. He was not good in preseason. Anytime he steps in, I mean, it took him 2 seconds to throw an INT. I mean,
And then we got it back.
Yeah, but it's still. My point is, he sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it back in freaking May. All right. Now these must be older. He's grandstanding. The Eagles need to trust the process. Fire the fraud and his coach right now. Horrible loss. Yep, Joel. I definitely don't hope so. Laugh out loud. I'll go down with the ship. I'll see you all tomorrow. That's right. I'm sure Matty B. It'll be the gloat tour with Matty B on Talking Philly Sports with Matty B. I honestly think Howie thought Sidney Brown was really going to help transform this defense. He could be a good key piece, but I don't know how he thought that in the first year that was going to happen. This team has been struggling more than 6 weeks. No, this team has had some scary spot. I'll push back on that one, Mike. This team has had some blips on the radar in the last few weeks before these 6 weeks, but these last 6 weeks the struggles were real. Those were where the real struggle. I'm glad I'm a Michigan college football fan. It makes it a little easier to tolerate.
Oh my God!
Not when they lose tomorrow night. It's not going to be fun for you.
Mitch is going to be on watch for sure if they lose after back-to-back games like that.
Right. Should I sell them tickets now?
Yeah,
don't remind me the Sixers like back-to-back as well.
Yeah. I've been saying this team has been off since game 1. All right. Listen, guys, I get you've been saying it's off, but it's hard to go against a 10-1 team at one point. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Yeah, we saw some issues, but if you can work around issues, no team is perfect, especially this year. That's really, I think, what burns me more. If this team was able to be just as good as they were at 10-1, sky was the limit for them, because the rest of the NFL, except for maybe the resurgence of the Ravens, were not that great. I mean, at that time, San Fran was on a 3-game skid. Dallas was Dallas. The Bills were falling apart. The Chiefs were struggling. And the Ravens weren't, lighting the world on fire. So I get it that we weren't happy with it, but to sit here and tell me that we thought that this team was like, that bad as we think now at the beginning of the season, I'll push back on that one. I trust Howie's play calling over Brian Johnson's. Well, Nick has lost this team. These guys have no confidence in Nick. All I know is Derek Barnett and Terrell Edmonds played well today.
That's why I said Derek Barnett, yeah.
I disagree. He just has shit coordinators. Big Al back in week 12-13 while appearing on the PM. Yeah, I'm going to say that the Eagles Super Bowl contenders, top 3 in the league. They were top 5. They were top 5 in the league at that time. So back off. What are your thoughts on head coaching replacements? We'll get to that. Matty B for circa 2019. Get out of here. Oh man, this sucks. Yeah, next shift. It's a tough one. Everybody's saying get rid of the coordinators, but who picked the coordinators? That's kind of my question. Like, we all expect, and again, it's like, do you fire Howie just because the control factor? And is it Howie, or does Jeff like it? Is Howie just a safety blanket for Jeff Lurie? I mean, that's all where it all comes into. Like, where does it start? Where do you have to cut the cord at? Like that is where I worry. Sean, Brian Johnson and Desai are learning on the job, having been hearing for months when I was calling for a change. Rex Ryan is head and shoulders better than Desai. Listen, Mike, you're head and shoulders better than Desai. Anybody at this point is head and shoulders better than Desai. Buddy Ryan was one of the clowns losers I referred to earlier. I never once believed he would win us anything. Insult to injury, Miles Jack in playoffs for the Steelers. Yeah, does that tell you a little something? A guy who said I might want to retire, become a plumber, came, did the preseason with the Eagles, opted to retire, then re-signs with his team, the Steelers, and now look at him like, does that tell you maybe he did see something he didn't like with this? Maybe how like Sean Desai scheming was or whatever it is. Tight end Dallas Goedert, his salary goes up next year too. Yep, something.
Everybody's salary goes up next year.
Yeah, maybe not today, but overall they've given it their all. Crabby old man. I mean, for a guy with the name Crabby old man, you have a lot more confidence. When was the last time you saw give him all? It's got to be at least 6 weeks ago. Could have been longer. I would bring in Greg Williams as DC and have T. Martin as OC. I have no clue why you guys laugh at the Rex Ryan for defense. Just tell me that Desai did that better than Rex. I'm not fighting you on Rex versus Desai.
Yeah, not the question.
I'm just saying Rex Ryan's not the answer. It's like, is it better to get set on fire or burned to death? It's the same thing. When it's good in the long run. If either hot pan or hot fire, either way, I don't think they're the answer yet. Like you guys said, you had a guy who has not been a coordinator in this league for a long time. He gets to sit back and be an analyst like we do and tell you where you did something wrong, playing hindsight, not making changes on the fly. Those are the kind of things. I mean, it's a completely different era. Coach have destroyed a great team. My local high school team seems to get more heart than this squad these last 6 games. David saying Nick's first playoff game lost to Tampa. Nick's last playoff game lost versus Tampa. That would be some sort of poetry right there. To add all the irony, Quez has the nicest catch of his entire career. Did anybody see that the little motion he made when he caught that touchdown pass?
Oh yeah.
Was he trying to say silence the Eagles fans or the jabbering of the Giants fans in the crowd?
Could have gone either way, honestly.
Yeah, because you catch one touchdown pass finally against scrubs, and you're gonna run your mouth. Rex in Baltimore, top 10 defense. Rex, the head coach with the Jets, Bills, top 10 defense. Also, Rex took Mark Sanchez to the AFC Championship game. Yeah, okay. And then Rex didn't get another job. He went and became an analyst, and not because he's too old to do the job. Again, at one point, guys can grow out of them. Their schemes get broken down, and they don't have anything new. I don't think they have it. I know I'm just kind of blowing through these, but I want to touch on them. Failure to see they quit on Sierra is obtuse. AJ Brown plays next week. Injury not serious. There's a holding hope out. Laugh out loud. Frank Reich is not coming back. Our defense is not capable of doing a 3-and-out. No, not at all. Someone say meth life. That would be our boy Mitchie Poo here. Get rid of the defensive and offensive coordinators. I think that's kind of been set forth a little bit. He was an alternate CB Brady Pro Bowl. Bradbury Pro Bowl. Oh, he is the Pro Bowler, isn't he? No, not this year. Last year.
That was last year.
Yeah,
I was gonna say. Covey getting some offense time looked good. Yeah. And that was something I said before a few weeks back. Like, if you want to try something different, maybe get a guy in there who needs like a Greg Ward type guy, which I think Britton Covey could fit. Like, he's not going to be the biggest guy or the most talented guy, but he has the will, the want, the effort. We had trouble in game 1 versus the Pats, so now it was the whole season thing. Here is if I was an Eagles, I would have DeMar. Oh, he said that already. This team has too much talent to be wasted on preschool Nick Sirianni offense. The guy who picked the coordinators, it's his coaching staff. I agree. Listen, it heavy's the head that wears the crown, as I always say. Meaning, like, if you're the head coach, you get all the accolades, but when things aren't going right, accolades you're not what you're looking at. AJ reported players only meeting sure did wonders today. Shaking my head. Yeah, he goes, here's my players only meeting. Guys, I'm gonna get hurt real quick, and you guys you're gonna flop for the rest of the game.
Wow.
Nick Foles as a coach, yeah.
Oh my God.
Eagles should hire. Yeah, there you go. Todd, and then let's see one last one here. I think before I get back to you guys, sorry, we need veteran coordinators, not on the job training coordinators. Yeah. So here, I'll say one thing is I was okay with one up and coming guy. Everybody's got to have a start somewhere, but maybe not both. You need I think Vic Fangio, I think they thought that was going to happen. I think they thought Vic Fangio was going to be the guy as our defensive coordinator, and then Brian Johnson would be the OC, but didn't play up. And here it is. I was waiting for it. Bring in Seth Joyner as DC.
There it is.
There it is, guys. So you guys heard me enough, guys. Mitch, any final thoughts, parting shots? Any thoughts at all?
It's a mental block. I just don't know what's going on with this team right now. Like, I just don't. Watch this. Like, I think Pat said this on Fly Like an Eagle. Watch them be a possum, fool everybody, and do this. I'm like, there's no way that's gonna happen. Like, this team sucks. Like, yeah, I got nothing.
Ryan?
Wow, it's hard to follow.
Yeah. The eloquence of that statement.
Right, yeah. As the last comment there shows, Vic Fangio should have been involved in this team in some way, potentially D coordinator. But because of the way Gannon kind of went about his thing with Arizona, took a little time, and we ended up losing out on him. And I think that ultimately was the start of things going wrong for us. Mark, I don't know if the Bucks are capable of scoring 26 points. Their offense looks pretty terrible too. But
we may say like a 9-6 game, 9-6 playoff game. That's just atrocious.
Yeah, listen, Mitch, I hope you're right. I hope they've just been fooling with us for the last 6 weeks, and they're going to come out. New game plan, new plays, no more screens. That would be fantastic. Unlikely, but who knows? Stranger things have happened, and listen, teams can get hot. But listen, I think ultimately what might be the best moving forward for this franchise, and I'm certainly not going to be rooting for it, but is to have them out of the playoffs. Get themselves in the mindset that, hey, we have a lot to fix for this team. This defense is broken. This offense is broken. There's not a lot of personnel-wise offensively that you really do need to fix. You need to fix schematics, play calling. You need to fix the coordinator there. Defensively, you have a lot to fix. You have defensive backfield to pretty much overhaul. Outside of Slay, who should really be the only veteran sticking around. I like Bayard, but apparently I think its cap hit next year is like $13-14 million. So no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you need linebackers. I've been preaching linebackers for how long have I been? I think I've been podcasting for over 15 years, and I think I've been yelling it for 16. So
look at some of the good teams who continue to be perennial good teams. The Niners, some great linebackers. Seattle, when they were really, really, really good linebackers. Steelers, good
linebackers.
Yeah.
85 Bears, great linebackers.
I mean, look at what was it? J.J. Watt, on Houston. Houston didn't always have, like, when Deshaun Watson was still down there and everything, they weren't great defensively, because of a leader like Watt and his ability to break up things makes it that much better.
Yeah. So they need to reevaluate what they find important for this team, and they need to absolutely go ahead and try to fix them as much as you can. I know they're Howie has his arm tied behind his back, but if there's again, everybody's saying fire Howie. Howie's the only one who can help us fix this. And listen, not every GM is going to be 100%. Not every draft pick is going to work. Not every free agent signing is going to work. But you hope they work more than they don't. And for the most part, and especially for recent years, Howie's has worked more than it hasn't. So let's give the man a benefit of the doubt. He's already have a Super Bowl. He just went to another one. I don't want to fire Nick. I don't want to fire Howie. Maybe let's get some new D coordinators. Let's add some pieces defensively. Let's fix the schemes for both offense and defense. Get coordinators in here, and let's fix Jalen Hurts because he regressed this year, and I think that has a lot to do with schematics, with coordinator, and it has nothing to do with him physically because the man can absolutely play the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was well said. James is saying a tale of two halves. What, Dumb and Dumber? I didn't remember. One half just got worse than the next.
Maybe
real
saying the
quick.
season was tale of two
I
halves.
think it was
Oh,
the season. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, we'll go with that. Mark is saying love. I guess Lovey Smith.
Lovey Smith. Well, name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, again, it's are those older guys just? Is there a reason they don't last long in places? I mean, it's kind of tough. Like, do you get like a young up and coming guy, or do you find somebody who's tried and true? Because as a tried and true guy, it's hard unless their contract's up. You're not going to get them. They can't go to another team even if they pay more for a lateral. They got to get an upgrade. So he would have to be either the coach, or he would have to be what do they make it, the assistant to the. I don't know if that considered upgrade, assistant to the head coach. I don't know. So I'm not exactly sure how that works out. I don't know if we lost you there, Ryan.
Nah, I'm here. I know
Okay.
I'm frozen. Yeah, it's just
That's fine. That's fine. Blame has to be shared with Jalen Hurts too. I was blaming the coordinators, but Mariota seemed to run the. No, James, what game were you watching? He did not look good at all. They put in guys who are hungry for a little play time against second and third stringers. Mariota sucked. Big time sucked. Jalen Hurts definitely does need some of the blame because, again, but was it because he was playing hero ball because he didn't agree with the coordinating, whatever it was. But I'll push back. Mariota did not run that at all. Sign Queen from Baltimore, the linebacker.
Yes.
I mean, if you're going to get rid of guys and open up some money, yeah, please do. Our DBs are invisible. They're that's invisible. Yeah, I don't even know where to go with that one. In the first half, Hurts had 18 yards passing and 4 yards rushing. Yep. In the second half, Mariota almost 200 yards combined offense, 19 yards. But again, the Giants put in all their guys. There's they were it's night and day. It's night and day. Mariota was not that good. Yeah, we'll skip that one. And that's about it. Guys, it's been an hour. It's been a long hour, a long day. I want to big thanks to you guys, Mitch and Ryan. Always huge pieces here at Edge of Philly Sports. And with new big things coming soon. So it's going to be real interesting. It's just this season. I almost thought about sending guys a message. I'm just going to run all of the draft stuff for the next 45 minutes to an hour. I heard what's his Dibe say that, and I said maybe we should do that for the post game. Just run 45-minute loops of different draft videos that he put out. Nice. That way there'll be something to look at. And that's about it. And the last comments, no laughing at Lovey Smith. I'm not laughing at Lovey Smith. I just don't know the guys. What has he been doing lately? Like, if you're out of it too long, I don't know. I don't know how that makes me feel. Josh Sweat today. Where's he been? He's been on milk carton for a few weeks. Howie's trash. Good example. Green Bay doesn't pay Pro Bowlers and just clinched the playoffs in a bad division. Not a bad. Well, Lions are a good team, but the rest of it. Mariota may not be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but he looked better than Hurts. Looked clueless. This team is hurt. I just don't. The team looked clueless, not just Hurts. And I don't think putting Mariota in for Hurts is going to change anything. Another conversation for another day. But that's about it. So, guys, I want to thank you. I want to thank our sponsors over at PhillySportsTrips.com, Sherry'sTickets.com, and CherryInjuryLaw.com. You guys are awesome. You would make EOP possible. Guys, stick around. We'll have the schedule out for this week. Plenty of talk. I'm sure a lot of venting going on this week throughout EOP and more. So other than that, thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Ryan. Guys, check out Mitch at Mitch Kofsky on X. Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA on X. And guys, we will see you next time.